Yo everyone, so I'm very excited to be back with another how-to video, and today's how-to video is how to contour the perfect nose. So for those of you that are like me and are anti-plastic surgery, there ain't no need for plastic surgery on your beautiful face unless you've had a very traumatic experience and it is necessary. Other than that, there is nothing that makeup in this world cannot change, fix, manipulate, amend, and that's it really. So the perfect nose. What is the perfect nose? That's the biggest question. Firstly, what is the perfect nose? Now to me, the perfect nose, and I don't laugh, is what I call the ski jump nose. And the reason I call it a ski jump nose is because my best friend has a ski jump nose, and I call her nose, I say to her nose, it looks like a ski jump. So basically, this is my nose, uncontoured. I've just done my foundation and concealer and a little bit of my eye makeup, but I've not touched my nose yet. So the ski jump nose is basically one that is like a ski jump. It goes like this. It's as simple as that. We don't want a nose which looks too fat around the sides, and we want one which kind of like, you know, it just looks cute and very button-like. And that is, I think, in my opinion, the perfect nose to a lot of people. Whenever you see people contouring and highlighting the way that they've done on their nose, they are doing it to emulate a ski jump. But they don't know it's called a ski jump. That's just between me and you. And I'm just sharing my little term that I call it the ski jump nose, because it looks like a ski jump. So the way that I contour my nose, I can be quite quick and a bit messy about it, because I'm never too fussed to have anything that looks too perfect. To me, I need to have my eyeshadow blended perfectly. I don't necessarily worry too much about whether my contour is a little bit this or a little bit that. However, I have recently noticed that I started doing my nose contouring a little bit differently. And I normally use quite a large brush just to save time in the mornings when I'm in a hurry and I don't have the chance to use 100 different brushes. This is the brush that I use to contour my face. It's the Sigma Large Angled Contour F40 brush. And because I contour my face, I just take the brush and I just do that on the sides at the same time, and then I just use some powder to tidy it up. But if you do have that extra bit of time and you want to have the most perfectly contoured nose, the best thing to use is a small fluffy brush. So the one that we're going to be using today is the Morphe G17 brush. And because I do try to keep things affordable as much as I can do, I am aware that not everybody has the same kind of budget as I do. And sometimes obviously companies send me things from their PR lists. I was sent this by NYX Cosmetics, but I actually already own one as well. And I think you guys have seen it in months back's videos, but they sent me a new one because they recently launched their cream contour one. Now, rather than do a video on the cream contour, I'm going to use the powder one. So this is the Highlight and Contour Pro palette, because I'll be honest with you guys, 99% of the time I use powder contour. I don't use cream contour unless I'm going for extra glam and I've got extra time. But who has time to do cream and then set it with powder too? I'd rather just use powder. Powder is a little bit more forgiving as well. You can clear up a lot more mistakes. We are going to be using this palette today, and I think that the shade that I'm going to use is this kind of warmish brown looking one here. This palette is great because it works well on all skin tones. This is the deepest shade. This one's a more taupey shade. This one's a more mixture of warm and taupe, and this one is more warm. And then you've got highlighting shades on the top as well. What we are going to do now is we are going to dip our brush into the contour palette, tap off the excess, and we are going to start to contour. So as you can see, this is where my nose, the flare ends, if that makes sense. And I am going to contour from the top to the bottom very lightly. Now, as you can see, it has left a very obvious line, and that's fine because we're not going to leave it that way. At the moment, we're kind of sketching things out. So again, go back in, tap off, because less is more, and do the same on the other side. So now you should be able to see that my nose looks very long because I've got two dark lines going right down the middle. Now, depending on the width of your nose is how far down you want the contour to come. Now, I would say I've got a medium-sized nose. I don't have a large nose. I don't have a small nose. I have a regular sized nose, regular width. Now, if you've got quite a wide nose, you will want to bring the contour down a bit further so that you give the illusion that it is smaller. If you've got a very small nose, you should not even have one this thick. You should use an even smaller brush and just lightly go along the top, almost as if it is hardly anything there, but there is something there. So now I'm just going to go along the bottom with no extra product, just to kind of close it off. And you should look very, very odd like this. And then, actually I should have done this beforehand, and what I normally tend to do is I use concealer on the center of my nose to kind of highlight, but the main reason that I apply concealer to my nose is because that is the area when you wear foundation that tends to start to separate first. Your nose is always more oily than the rest of your face. So what I'm going to just quickly do, because I actually forgot to do this first, is just run this down the middle. It won't affect the contour. There we go, it was that light. So now, what I'm going to start to do is start to blend. And blend. And blend. And I'm blending it downwards. Ignoring the tip that I just gave you guys about how far up or down it goes, because I will show the way that I then tend to correct it anyway. Okay, so once your blending is done and it looks a lot more soft, yes, it does still look a little bit dark, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do now is any face powder that you have, I'm using my Makeup Revolution Luxury Powder in the shade Banana, just because it's here with me. Just tap a little bit in here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this brush. It's got powder on it still. It's the Morphe M310 contour brush. And I'm just dipping it in here. This is where it gets slightly messy. So first, I'm going to run it down the center of my nose. Quite thick, as you can see, because I don't want the concealer moving. And then on the sides. And drag it right down. And the area which is left blank, that is where you want your contour to be. This is to tidy up any mess that may have happened. It's basically like you're baking your nose. And now just take your brush and brush it all off. Just take that same Morphe brush and again just blend it slightly. Now, as you can see, it looks perfectly contoured and lovely. However, it still looks quite fat in the middle. Now, to make that ski jump effect is at the end of your nose, where you want it to you want it to have the illusion that it is pointing upwards. So again, go back in, but so lightly, the tiniest amount, and even still, brush it off, blend it off. Now what we're going to do is where the ball of your nose is, you can almost feel that ball right there, and I'm going to run this brush above it, and there's hardly any colour, but there is still enough. So now the centre, can you see now my nose looks like there's almost like a little dent, but it's kind of poking upwards, and that's exactly how we want it to be. And that is how you achieve the perfectly contoured nose, but we are not finished there. Next, we are going to highlight the nose. Now, you can use obviously powders like I did to highlight a more natural highlight, but I'm talking about highlight. So this one here is the Primark Pure Glow highlighting palette, and these are the gorgeous, amazing shades inside it. And this gold one here called Glimmer is what we're going to use on our face. So I'm going to use, you can use any brush that you generally use for highlighting your face. This is the Morphe M310 fan brush, and I'm just going to go in quite gently with this, and I'm going to dust it on the end of my nose, just below where I applied that line across it. Now, I generally tend to use my finger. It's up to you if you want to waste time using a brush. So just a little bit on the finger and just right up here, almost between your eyes. So the center needs to remain completely empty and matte. because with a matte powder you create depth, with highlighter you create the illusion of light. I'm just going to take this brush again, and that is it, my friends. This is how you create the perfect ski jump nose, like that. You have to do the whole motion, ski jump, up. So as you can see, my nose looks lovely and contoured beautifully. I think I got a little bit underneath here. Let's just get rid of that. Looks a little bit dark down here. That's fine. Nothing you can't fix. Obviously, the nose highlight is a very contentious subject. Some people hate it. Some people love it. Some people think it's a light bulb, whatever. It's all down to personal preference, my friends. So let me just finish off the rest of my face and I will be right back. Okay, so the rest of my face is now done. As you can see, along with my face contour, extreme highlight as always, my face looks defined, it looks contoured, it looks like it has dimension, it doesn't look flat, and it works well with the nose, because obviously, as I showed you before, I had just done the nose but not the rest of my face, so it may have looked a little bit odd, but in context and when you put it all into perspective, it sits really nicely. My nose looks snatched, it looks perfect, no nose jobs needed around here, nothing intense or crazy. Once it's done and you take it all off, your normal nose is back to normal at the end of the day, you know. So that's it. So I hope you guys found this video useful and helpful. Let me know whether you have tried anything like this or how you tend to do your nose contour, or if my video has helped you at all. What else can I say? On my lips I'm wearing Barry M's Matte Me Up lip paint in the shade Pop Up Cherry, and I use that same Primark highlighter on my face as well. Look at that, it's so intense, it's amazing, I love it. So that's it. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Like, comment, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.